We always want to know what's on your mind. Text your comments or questions to the Smart Air Cooling and Heating text line at 512-836-0590.
Welcome back to the Todd and Oz Show. Yeah, join us at 512-836-0590. Let's talk a little bit about your money. A lawsuit seeks to stop the city of Austin from collecting tens of millions of dollars in the 2024 tax year for Project Connect. It's Austin's multi-billion-dollar investment into local transit infrastructure. It's the centerpiece of which plans include, well, several miles of light rail. Former Travis County Judge Bill Elshire, he's one of the plaintiff's attorneys in this case.
In this case, Austin no longer has voter permission to continue to collect the Project Connect tax increase carried over every year since 2020 because they are not giving voters what they promised them in return for that tax rate.
Yeah, the class action lawsuit filed in Travis County. It cites a relatively new and untested provision of the Texas tax code that allows a taxpayer to ask the court to halt the collection of property taxes if a tax rate is miscalculated. Well, in this case, the lawsuit claims the 2024 tax rates for Project Connect approved by the Austin City Council August the 14th is miscalculated because the purpose of the project of 2020's Project Connect's tax increase is no longer feasible.
Right.
Nor is the tax being used as promised.
Yeah, they factored in the Project Connect tax into the property tax rate, which the lawsuit says you can't do. And I think they're using a rather untested, fairly new law. It was Senate Bill 2, and I think it was passed in 2019, that stops taxing entities from collecting taxes if it violates rules requiring voter approval of bigger tax increases. And here's what you got.
Yeah, this lawsuit also claims the city won't spend roughly $187 million of a levy for the transit investment this year. Property tax bills this year, they're likely to be sent out, after November 5th's general election, as there are two tax rate elections that are on that ballot for voters to consider.
Yeah. I mean, think about that. According to Aylshire, they've just been stockpiling cash. They've got north of $450 million right now that's not even spent. And they're going to be collecting, another $187 million this year, $630 or something million collected so far.
$467 million in cash sitting in the bank is, well, that's drawing a lot of money in interest, right?
Sure it is.
Somebody, maybe Vandy, maybe somebody texting can calculate what kind of interest that could be drawing. Text us at 512-836-0590. Project Connect was approved by the voters in 2020 with an increase to the city's maintenance and operations property tax rate. It was set to include several transit projects and multiple miles of light rail. Plans for that light rail have since been scaled back to just under 10 miles.
That's right.
And construction is estimated to cost a whole lot more. And just from my experience, they tell us it was $7 billion on the ballots. Then they say no, it's going to be more like $11 billion, and it's going to be about 1/5 of what we promised you. Well, now they're saying it's going to be $11 billion. It doesn't even go to the airport, the train, and my gut tells me it'll probably be $15 billion.
Oh, easily.
Maybe $20 billion.
Easily.
Maybe $30 billion down the road.
And, of course, the Austin Transit Partnership, I mean, they're not interested in anybody's concern about this. They just say, the post-pandemic inflation. I mean, that's why the costs have gone up so much. And it's no big deal. We're going to keep collecting it because this is what Austin wants. Well, this is not what Austin wants. And like you point, it's significantly smaller. Not even 10 miles with a termination at the airport. You got to catch an Uber or something from the station there for another mile before you can get to your flight.
Well, construction on this Project Connect, whatever it could be or might be, or even if it happens at all, is supposed to begin in 2027. The Austin Transit Partnership expects significant increases in its expenses because construction costs beginning in fiscal year 2025, 2026. So they're already kind of getting you ready for even more money, right? Even more bond packages down the road.
Yeah.
Well, this lawsuit alleges the money raised in taxes this year will go unspent as hundreds of millions in taxpayer dollars have been stockpiled, unused, since the city began levying that tax back in 2020. Now, Kathy Coco, she's one of the lead plaintiffs in this lawsuit. She was a strong supporter of Project Connect. Mm-hmm. She voted for it in 2020. But she now feels that she was duped. She was lied to. because the current plan is only a fraction of what was promised.
The light rail and Project Connect solution is an unaffordable, outdated, yesterday idea.
Now, a few weeks ago, before this most recent lawsuits, City Manager T.C. Broadnax, he spoke with KView about this, Project Connect.
Austin voters approved a bond to spend the most money that they've ever spent to try to put in some rail, only to learn that what they thought they were voting on is not what they're going to get. Your thoughts on Project Connect and how the city can move forward, giving people some of at least what they thought they were voting to get?
I think we owe that to the public, and our partners as well as us are committed, I know, to ensuring that, one, we can put rail in the ground. We can actually build as a part of, as you saw last week, housing near those rail lines to actually help us with the traffic congestion issues, and just get past all that and actually do the things that voters voted for in large dose, and then find ways to build on top of that and continue to work with people to build out that entire system.
What is he talking about? Build it in large doses. What is he talking about there? I don't understand what he was saying. Build it in large doses, in fractions, that sort of thing?
I guess that's what he meant.
Well, maybe it wasn't a fair question for the new city manager a couple of months ago when he was applying for the job, but he seems to be. He kind of shows that he's willing to, follow through with what the mayor wants. And this Project Connect is Kirk Watson.
Yeah,
Kirk Watson is Project Connect. Project Connect is Kirk Watson. Yeah, no doubt about it.
I definitely need to correct just one thing in that report there. That the voters did not approve a bond to fund this.
No,
this was a property tax increase,
no, they did
not a bond.
And in fact, if they would have done a bond package, there wouldn't be any legal challenge.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. There was an email sent out from Bill McCamley. He's the director of Transit Forward, and he says, "Well, it's just the same few anti-transit minority." Who frivolously filed a lawsuit last fall, and they're at it again, continues to waste Austinites' hard-earned taxpayer money through unnecessary legal fees,
well, that's rich.
forcing further delays. And you got people like Kathy Coco, you played that audio, Bill Ailshire, others. They're saying, look, we're not anti-transit. It's just that there are a lot more cost-effective ways, maybe high-capacity, high-frequency bus lines, things like that.
What's the name of that lobbying group out of California you just read from, that press release? What's the name of that?
Transit Forward.
And they're upset because this group that's filed some lawsuits is wasting taxpayer dollars?
Yeah, it's pretty rich.
Filing a lawsuit about wasted taxpayer dollars?
Yeah. Right. Wasting hard-earned taxpayer money through unnecessary legal fees and possibly forcing further delays, which will cost us, the voters, even more.
Yeah, well, look in the mirror, Transit Forward. How about that? How about just be honest with the people, right? You got your Project Connect. People voted yes. People want it. People want a maze of trains and, rapid buses and rickshaws to get around town. People want it in Austin, Texas. People wanted Project Connect. They just don't like the way you've illegally funded it and the retroactive taxes that you've been collecting, and nothing has been built yet.
Yeah,
nothing.
Nothing at all. And the city's reaction to any sort of criticism of the way they've handled this, the way that they told the voters one thing 4 years ago and have done something completely different ever since, it's just this constant gaslighting. How dare you question us?
Yeah.
We're giving you what you voted for.
It's true.
You're not giving us what we voted for. Not even close. One single rail line that's less than 10 miles long, at $11 billion versus 30 miles at $7 billion. It's not at all the same thing. It's like comparing apples to a 1979 Cadillac.
And Mayor Kirk Watson appears to be Teflon.
Yeah.
He was the guy that introduced Project Connect at a press conference downtown.
Yeah.
Years and years and years ago.
I remember.
This is his baby.
I remember when he was still mayor, and it was a big want of his.
This tax scam is his baby. This is his.
Yeah.
Jump in here, 512-836-0590. It is 626 here at KLBJ.
The Todd and Oz Show.